And welcome in, everybody. Will here, just getting set up. This is going to be episode 16 of my podcast. This is where I talk about science, I talk about research that we're doing here at Pile Advanced Research, and I just talk about my findings, some of my inputs that I have, just random thoughts. A lot of people like to, I don't know, hear some of this. So without any further ado, let's get started. Yesterday, I actually uploaded a video on Erwin Schrödinger, my thoughts about his cat in the box theory, and actually started talking about Erwin's other great discovery, which was the aperiodic crystal. And even though that video did really well yesterday, I got some shade about it, and I think it had to do with, some of it had to do with people who are expecting a lot of my channel to be talking about Itzhak Bentov all the time, which I do. I talk about it, make full-length videos. I've even written ebooks. Links will be down in the description. But what I'm doing here on this channel right now is just kind of, I'm going over some scientists and some science research that we're working with here. And I just wanted to share, anytime something really strikes me as amazing or crazy, I always feel that the fans, the audience, and the subscribers might find some enjoyment as well on this. So without any further ado, I'm basically just going to talk a little bit about what I talked about on my my earlier YouTube short. I'm going to kind of just wrap that up. I am watching my blind dog over here, Lamb Chop. I'm going to give you a quick look. Come here, girl. Share. Let me show everybody. This is Lamb Chop. This is my blind poodle. She's diabetic. She's about 15. We give her 2 shots a day. But yeah, I just wanted to show and tell. So you guys go, what is he looking at? What is he doing over there? And it is my poodle. Just keeping an eye on it. It's me and my wife's. But let's get back to Erwin Schrödinger. That's why a lot of people have come here today about, and Itzhak Bentov as well. And so I'm just going to talk a little bit about the YouTube short that I made about Erwin. And like I said, he came up with a concept probably prior to 44, but that's when he released it in his book. It was called What is Life? Erwin Schrödinger's, that was a great book. If you've never read that or seen that, that's definitely one to go read. But in there, he comes up with a concept called aperiodic crystal. And in there it's a thought experiment. Just like a lot of his stuff is, he's really good at nudging scientists and pushing them to look at something. He was extraordinarily good at it. And this one in particular really shows it. Aperiodic crystal was a concept he came up with that says there must be something that was crystal in structure that's not like a water crystal or a quartz crystal where its patterns repeat over. It must be something a little bit more complex, some sort of structure that's, and sure enough, 9 years later, Watson Crick find it. It's DNA, it's the double helix structure. And when we're doing some research on this channel, what stands out is important because of the things like emergence, complexity. What we're finding here a lot of the times is that people will come up with some amazing thought experiments, and then it takes several years, if not centuries, to really refine that and figure out if there's something there or there isn't something there. Now, sometimes it happens overnight. Sometimes we create a machine, we finally get it running, we turn it on, and then it gives us some results. But even in that specific situation, it's a long time. You're building the machine, you're planning it, you're processing it. So this whole, what I call the evolution of emergence processing. And basically that goes something like this, is where someone comes up with a good idea because they see something somewhere else. They announce that idea. Someone that generally has already a very strong background where people are already listening to them. And then some people that have even a more deeper knowledge of that subject generally listen to that person, say it's at a convention or a lecture, and say, you know what, that has something to do with the work that I am doing over here. And I wonder if I can apply it to what I'm doing over here. That has happened more times in the back human history, last couple thousand, than we've ever seen it in the first 15,000. There is creative inspiration, especially in philosophical ideas. The power is genuinely there. We've seen it. We've seen it through history. We've seen it repetitive through life. And I think it's important. We talk about emergence. We talk about complexity theory, where that stuff comes from. Why? Because it's important. A lot of people say, well, if you could recreate that, if we knew what was going on there and we could recreate these brilliant ideas, we could keep pumping out brilliant ideas. Things like, flying cars or building better or materials being better. This is where those concepts kind of come in. It's a little bit what some scientists are working with AI on. I still think AI is very far away from being anything extremely useful in that specific purpose. I do find it somewhat okay and humorous and entertaining. But let's get back to Erwin Schrödinger. Another part on this episode that I want to talk about, because I think it's extremely important, is that Erwin, like I said, he was a nudger. And we have a few of those in our history. But when I was rereading Erwin's book, that one specifically in 44 called What is Life? Go get your hands on that one, because there's a lot of good stuff in that one. That, like I said, it took us years to really extract it, figure out, and yep, there was something here. Now, there were other scientists that had those same ideas. Hey, there must be a structure inside us somewhere. There must be something else going on. A lot of people say that consistently. There must be something else going on. But when you can specifically narrow it down to there must be a crystal inside, when you can start refining that to enough for where scientists know where to look, that is something special. That is something special we don't see very often. We see where it comes from. We study the history of it. We have all the books. This is well recorded, well documented. And this is a little bit of what some of the research that they're doing now on a lot of this stuff. But that's, I will be talking about Erwin and his cat in the box theory. That's basically when you have a cat in the box and it's absolutely silent. How do you know it's alive or it's dead? Till you open that box, and how it could be both at the same time until you open that box. And then it has to do with the wave collapse, the function of the wave collapse. And, we're still studying that. A lot of what I'm going to go on is I'm going to say there has to be something right with Penrose when he says it has something to do with gravity. That's what I think. I think it has to do with a phenomenon that we're not fully aware of. When we look into all the hard scientists and all the hard science ever, gravity doesn't show up. Not ever. Not once. Not for anything. In a couple theories, but pretty curvature of space and time. That's the best we got. And we think that could be incomplete. And that was 80 years ago. Even with the quantum computers, even with stuff like that, we have no concept of what gravity truly is. And anybody that's telling you, oh yeah, gravity, that's the gravity, that is incorrect by so much. Because when we make assumptions, when we try telling people that this is what something is without hard science, that's how Einstein actually cracked his codes. That's how what he did is he went back and he found where we were making assumptions on things, and he corrected that and actually put math in there. And that's what we need to do to fix a lot of these things and discover new stuff. When it comes to consciousness, when we're coming to gravity, dark matter, dark energy, so I want to talk a little bit about time crystals, because I actually got that mentioned the other day. This is a podcast, and I get to talk about whatever I want to talk about. For a long time, there was some speculation on whether time crystals were real or not, and they are. They're an absolute scientific phenomenon. In fact, we've been able to acoustically hold a piece of space and time. Well, I thought time was a man-made idea. I thought time was something we created. It sort of is, but it isn't. You see, inside each little space, there is action, there's oscillation, there's vibration. There's things like background radiation that we see. We see that there are things out there in the universe before previously thought there was a vacuum of space. There's nothing out there. There's nothing can survive. It's cold. It's a vacuum. But the reality of it is that there's plenty of things in there, and things that we're not even aware of, things that we're still studying today. So I'm going to do some more research about some of this stuff. This is just a little bit of what I'm dealing with, and I'm getting myself involved with. I did finish Itzhak Bentov's last defining piece, my masterwork on him. I probably will never write another book. It's everything I've got on the man, the myth, the legend, and all of his theories. I will put links down in the description. In fact, I still want to say that it's scientists like Itzhak Bentov, it's scientists like Erwin Schrödinger, it's people that dared to throw out some wild ideas, and I want those wild ideas to keep coming, because it's only through those ideas based on some scientific grounding that we start breaking through walls, when we start seeing beyond what we can currently see now. And I do think things are right around the corner. I've seen recently, this is the last little bit I'm going to put on this one, but I've seen recently in the work that I do, some what we call cross experimentation, where we'll take something from one field and say, wow, that looks like it kind of would apply to something like this. And then we'll set up some staging and see if that works. And it's amazing. It's just absolutely amazing. And a lot of it has to do with sheer math. A lot of it has to do with our laws of gas and liquids and things like that. They're consistent throughout the universe, whether you test it here or there. One time that it does kind of differ, and this is kind of when you go to that quantum field. And that's a very weird area. It's spooky, and that's what Einstein would say about, the quantum fields, the collapse of the wave function, what particles and waves can do when they need to. It's absolutely mind-boggling, and that's some of the research that I'm doing right now. Can't say too much more about that, but as I develop more stuff, I will definitely release it to everybody here for sure. I'm hoping that you guys are enjoying this kind of podcast today. I wanted to come on and just talk about some of the science I'd been working on. For those that might be joining in here a little bit later, I will be uploading this so you can see it in its entirety. I know that I got a lot of hate for Erwin Schrödinger's piece that I put up there, because a lot of people were thinking I was saying it was wrong or something like that. And I'm not. These are thought experiments. It's meant to provoke science, and I absolutely love them. There's nothing I can think of more before discovering, making major discoveries, is the things that push those discoveries off the ledge to take flight. And that's really where this channel is a little bit, and that's what I like helping contribute, I think, is opening some people's minds to the concept that a lot of our sciences and maths go across other disciplines. And I encourage you to open your eyes, open your mind, and think outside the box. That's what I got for today. I appreciate everybody being here. Like I said, I'm going to upload this later. I'm going to try to be doing one of these a day where I talk about various scientists, work that they're working on. Take this all with a grain of salt. This is not where my major background is. It's just more of a passion for mine. And I know that I am simplifying a lot of these things for the masses, because I found that when I get too technical about things, they end up getting kind of lost in the translation. The last thing that I want to say is I do understand that on these live podcasts, I will misspeak. I will, and we will put the corrections down below. It's usually a community member that says, hey, your math was off on this when you spoke about that. Any corrections that I'll put them down below. Because like I said, this is a no script researcher talk. I'm trying to make this as a podcast here, so soon we'll be able to have some interactions. Hey, I'm kind of curious what you think about this, or hey, I'm working on this. And it's going to be a community. I think it's these little scientific, curious communities that really start making some headway in areas that might have been forgotten about or left on the table. That's what I got for today. If you like this, please hit that like and subscribe. Please help support the channel just by going and looking at my ebooks. You don't need to buy anything. I do have a Patreon, but you don't need to join it. I'm not asking for anything. I'm just asking you to help support this channel. So please hit that like, hit that subscribe, go check out my ebooks, follow the author, And if there's anything that I can do on my end, leave a comment. I'd love to maybe get another podcaster on here. Maybe we can discuss some things. But we'll talk about that on tomorrow's episode. And as always, you guys have a beautiful day.